Hello children, welcome back to economic session, and this is the Indian Economic Development Chapter 7, Employment, Growth, Informalization and Other Issues. As per the revised syllabus, you only have to learn the growth and changes in workforce participation rate in formal and informal sectors, problems and policies. Section 1, Workers and Employment, Participation of People in Employment. The gross domestic product and the gross national product. We already studied the gross domestic product and gross national product in our macroeconomics chapter, National Income and Related Aggregates. So here we are mentioning GDP and GNP once again. The total money value of all final goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country is in a given year is called gross domestic product or GDP for that year. So what is GDP? It is the total money value of all final goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country in a given year is called the gross domestic product or GDP. When we add the net factor income from abroad, that is the factor income from abroad minus the factor income to abroad, that is FIFA minus FITA to GDP, what we get is called the country's gross national product or GNP for that year. So GNP is equal to GDP plus NFIA. So those activities which contribute to the gross national product are called economic activities. So all those activities which contribute to the gross national product are called economic activities. Now we are discussing employment. So there is an important term, worker. Who is a worker? All those persons who are engaged in various economic activities. Economic activity we already discussed. The contribution made to the GNP on all those activities which contribute to the gross national product are called economic activities, and all those persons who are engaged in various economic activities in whatever capacity, high or low, and hence contribute to gross national product are workers. So simply we can say that a worker is a person who is engaged in various economic activities to contribute the gross national product is a worker. Even if some of them temporarily abstain from work due to illness, injury or other physical disability, bad weather, festival, social or religious functions, they are also workers. The workers also include all those who help in the main workers in these activities. So we generally think of only those who are paid by an employer for their work as workers. This is not so. Those who are self-employed are also workers. Now, what is employment? We are discussing employment here. So what is employment? The nature of employment in India is multifaceted. To get employment throughout the year, some others get employed for only a few months in a year. Many workers do not get fair wages for their work. While estimating the number of workers, all those who are engaged in economic activities are in employment or included as employed. So employment, we can say that all those who are engaged in economic activities are employed. The participation of people in employment. During 2011-12, India had about a 473 million strong workforce. So 473 million people are workforce in India. Since the majority of our people reside in rural areas, the proportion of workforce residing in rural areas is higher. The rural workers constitute about three-fourths of this 473 million people. That is, if we take 4 persons out of 4, 3 are rural workers. Men form the majority of workforce in India. About 70% of workers are men, and the rest are women. Men and women include child laborers in respective sexes. Women workers account for 1/3 of the rural workforce, whereas in urban areas they are just 1/5 of the workforce. So, in rural areas, women engaged in various activities along with men. So, 1/3 of the rural workforce in are women, but in urban areas they are just 1/5 of the workforce. The next term is the worker population ratio or workforce participation rate. This is an important one. Worker population ratio or workforce participation rate is defined as the proportion or percentage of population that is actively contributing to the production of goods and services of a country. So, what is worker population ratio? It is defined as the proportion of population that is actively contributing to the production of goods and services of a country. The worker population ratio for India is calculated by dividing the total number of workers in India by the population in India and multiply it by 100. So here is the equation. Worker population ratio is equal to estimated number of workers divided by estimated population into 100. Worker population ratio is equal to estimated number of workers divided by estimated population into 100. The worker population ratio or workforce participation rate is an indicator which is used for analyzing employment situation in the country. If the ratio is higher, it means that engagement of people is higher. If the ratio for a country is medium or low, it means that a very high proportion of its population is not involved directly in economic activities. The following table shows the different levels of participation of people in economic activities. For every 100 persons, about 39 are workers in India. The worker population ratio in India in 2011-12 is given in this table. So, there are 4 columns: gender, the total, rural and urban. So, men, the total worker population ratio in men is 54.4. That is the national average. And in rural areas, 54.3 men are working. And in urban areas, 54.6 people are working, and they are men. Next, the women's national average of total working population is 21.9. In rural areas, it is 24.8, and in urban areas, it merely 14.7. So, this is the total worker population ratio in India in 2011-12. So, the national average is 38.6. In rural areas, it is 39.9, and in urban areas, it is 35.5. So, why is there the difference between worker population ratio in rural and urban areas? In urban areas, the worker population ratio is about 36, whereas in rural area, the ratio is about 40. The people in rural areas have limited resources to earn a higher income and participate more in the employment market. Many do not go to schools, colleges, or other training institutions. Even if some go, they discontinue in the middle to join the workforce. The people cannot stay at home as their economic condition may not allow them to do so. On the other hand, in urban areas, a considerable section is able to study in various educational institutions. The urban people have a variety of employment opportunities. They look for the appropriate job to suit their qualifications and skills. And there is another question arises from that table: why are women in general and urban women in particular not working? Compared to males, less females are found to be working. The difference in participation rates is very large in urban areas. For every 100 urban females, only about 15 are engaged in some economic activities. But in rural areas, for every 100 rural women, about 25 participate in employment market. Compared to urban women, more rural women are found working because of the following reasons. It is common to find that where men are able to earn high incomes, families discourage female members from taking up jobs. And the earning of urban male workers are generally higher than the rural males, and so the urban families do not want females to work. Apart from this, many household activities in which urban women are engaged are not recognized as productive work, while women working on farms in the rural areas are considered a part of the workforce if they are being paid wages in cash or in the form of food grains. So, this is all about the introduction. See you next time. Thank you.